Hi everyone. I have received several emails about this homework assignment for week 4 Project Builder 1, and I just decided to make a video to go over it because I know the instructions in the book are quite confusing. So if you just want to open up your favorite browser and then browse into Angel and go under the Lessons panel, and you'll find the week 4 folder. And then once you open that up, you can just see some things that we're covering, and then click on the assignment folder. And in here, I'm just going to navigate to the week 4 Project Builder 1 homework assignment. And right off the bat, you can see it's week 4 Project Builder 1. It's 40 points. It says to complete the Project Builder 1 on page 7-32 of your text using 7-3 as your starting file. And what I'm going to do is just save my link as by right-clicking. And it says to save the file as Manicure copy. And I'm just going to save it right here as Manicure copy. You can either save it when you're downloading the file, or you can always change the name once the file is downloaded onto your computer. So I'm just typing in Manicure copy and clicking save. And then you can see my file downloaded to my desktop because that's where I specified for the file to go. And it's indeed says Manicure copy as the name. And I'm going to open up the ECA 138 folder that I created for my first video, and you can see I put week 1 through 4 inside. So I'll just click on week 4, and I'm going to then transplant my Manicure copy and just drop it right into my week 4 folder. And I just like to keep my folders like this so they're organized, because I know we're going to mess with a lot of files, and I just want to keep everything in one specific area. So now I'm just going to right click on the file and choose Open with Adobe Photoshop CS5. And once you have your file open, it'll look like this. And it's basically just this wood base with these fingernail polish. There's some emery boards. And I'm going to zoom in on my layers just so you can see there's 4 layers that come with the class file. And you can see one is the polishes, there's a layer 2, layer 1, and there's the locked background layer. And it's always good to come over and look at your layers and just kind of get a feel for what is actually on your canvas and what you're going to be dealing with. Now I grabbed my polishes layer because step 1 in the book says to duplicate your polishes layer. So I just drag my polishes layer down, and you can see here in the corner, if I hover over it, it says create a new layer. So if you just drag any layer on top of that and release your mouse, it'll automatically create a copy. Okay. Now, once we have our polishes layer copied, we're going to actually change the name of the polishes copy. And in your book, this would be step 3, and it says to change your polishes layer to red polish. So you just have to double click over the name, and it then will let you edit what the name is, and you can change the name of any layer that you have. So name that polishes layer copy and change that name to red polish. Okay, so for step 3, it says on the red polish layer, select the red nail polish bottle and cap and delete everything else in the layer. And I just want to go through and turn everything off before I start. That way I can just see the layer I'm working with and see the changes I'm making to it directly. Especially if there's a second layer that's an exact copy, it's kind of hard to see what changes you make because an exact replica is laying underneath. So some changes might not be as apparent. So I'm just going to go and I'm grabbing my lasso tool. And what this is going to do is just make a general selection. And you'll see what I mean after we get started here. Because I want to select the red nail polish bottle and cap, and I want to delete everything else on my layer. So I'm just drawing this lasso around the red nail polish bottle and cap, and you can see you get those marching ant lines, which are those lines moving around, and it's just showing me that's my selection. Now that button I clicked on at the very bottom of the tools panel is called the quick layer mask. And what I'm going to do with this is refine my selection. And what I mean by that is I want to get closer to my nail polish bottle, but I want to be precise about it. So you can grab the quick layer mask tool at the bottom and then go and grab your brush in your tools panel. And once you grab your brush, you can see at the very top you can change the brush size. You also can change it from the hard brush or the round. And we need the hard round brush because we want our lines to be very crisp. We don't want them to be feathered or soft. So make sure you have the hard round brush selected. And I'm just going to show you what happens when I start painting with my brush. And remember, I'm in quick layer mask mode, so always make sure that the mask button is selected. Now as I paint, you can see it's adding red to this canvas, and the red is actually the layer mask. It's not actually a color. And as I paint, you can see it gets closer to my fingernail polish bottle, and it just helps me refine the line. And the most important thing to remember is that black adds and white subtracts. So you can see I accidentally painted on top of my fingernail polish bottle, and that then brings my selection into the polish bottle, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is actually switch my colors, and I'm going to grab the white, and this is going to make it so my selection is back where I want it to be. And I'll take off the quick layer mask, and you can see now it's nice and refined. It's right up against the fingernail polish bottle, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm just going to continue to go around with my brush and just try to get as close to the fingernail polish bottle as I can. And I really like to zoom in when I start to get close to the actual fingernail polish bottle. And then I just switched my colors again because I was on white and I need to be on black in order to refine my selection how I want. So basically it's like taking this red color and painting as close as you can to whatever you want to select. And in this case it's the fingernail polish bottle. So I'm just going through and I'm just trying to cover up everything that I don't want, because we want to delete everything but the fingernail polish bottle. And we really don't need this brush here that comes with the polish bottle, because at the end it doesn't even exist. We're going to delete it anyway, so I might as well just delete it now. So don't worry if you paint over that. Alright, and you can see I'm zooming in even more, and as I zoom in you can also see the pixels, and those are the small squares that actually make up the image that we're looking at. And when you zoom in, you can start to see those squares, which are invisible when we zoom out, but they're actually really small squares that make up the images that we work with in Photoshop. Alright, starting to look pretty good. I'll turn my layer mask button off, and that'll then take me to my selection. And now what we want to do is get rid of everything else on the page. And right now we have the red nail polish bottle selected. If I hit delete, it's going to get rid of the red nail polish bottle, and that's not what I want. I want everything else to go away. So what I'm going to do is go up to my menu at the top. Then I'm going to go to the select, and then you can see inverse. And I'm going to choose that option. And it doesn't look like anything happened, but you can see along the edges those crawling ants are there now. So what that is telling me is that everything inside there is going to be deleted. So once I hit the delete key, you can see everything was deleted except the fingernail polish bottle, and that's because I chose the inverse, which is everything that isn't selected. Alright, and I just went back up to the select panel and just chose deselect to get rid of my crawling ants. Alright, now I'm going to hide the red polish layer, and it says to make the polishes layer active. and that would be step number 4 in your book if you're following along. Okay. Next, it says to create a layer mask that hides the red polish and then to brush in the remaining items. And I'm going to pretty much do what I just did for my red polish layer, except this time I want to get rid of the red nail polish and keep everything else. That would include the wood board with the fingernail polish and those scissors. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab my lasso tool again, and I just want to zoom in on my layers one last time. Okay, and again, we want to get rid of the red polish on the polishes layer. So we're going to essentially need to select the polish like we just did and then simply delete it. So I'll go up and grab my lasso tool and come down to the red polish, and I'm drawing my lasso tool selection around it again, just like I did before, except we're going to do the opposite of what we just did, which is delete the red polish layer. So you can see my selection isn't really close to the red polish layer, and so I'm going to use my quick mask again. And I'm going to grab my brush tool, and white reveals and black takes away, so always keep that in mind. I'm going to make sure I have the correct brush selected. And so I'm just going to go around and I'm going to make sure I'm on white so that I can reveal more of that wood area. And that's really all I'm concerned about right now, because everything else on the page is just background. So I'm just trying to get closer to the wood, so when I go to fix the hole that's going to be there from removing the polish, it's not as hard and I don't have as much an area to fix. So if I then hit delete, you can see the red polish is gone. I went up to select and chose deselect, and now the red polish is removed and everything else remains. And you can see on your layers, if you play around the red polish layer, it's just going to have the red nail polish, and now the polishes layer is actually going to contain everything else in that image. Alright, I'm going to choose the clone stamp tool to fix this wood area. And this image really isn't intended for the clone tool. There's really not a lot of wood grain to grab from, and I just don't really think this is a good image to begin with when learning the layer mask, but we'll just have to work with what the book gives us. And now what I just did, I'm showing you how this clone tool works. And what you have to do is place your point of origin over the area you want. And you'll see here, I'm going to hold in the Alt key while I have the clone tool, and it'll give me this target. And then once that target appears, I can click, and you can faintly see it looks like a cross, and it will, or a plus sign, and it will just show you where out in the wood that you're copying. You're basically copying wherever you set that point of origin with the Alt key. And what I like to do is grab small areas and go slowly